West African leaders are talking deeper integration, a common biometric ID card system, a common currency, abolishing resident permit to enhance free movement and promote trade. Well, that has always been the objective of the ECOWAS. 39 years of ECOWAS, and it seems we're getting somewhere. Or is it just mere talk? Well, the 45th Ordinary Session of the Economic Community for West African States is underway in Accra, and the closing session is on. But what is there to gain and what is there to lose?
I wish to call on all member states, particularly border officials, to take all the legal and necessary steps to remove all challenges or bottlenecks to trade and commercial activity within our region. The lingering difficulties that many enterprising West African citizens face in doing business across our borders must be addressed.
Well, issues on the table include trade, health, and security of the West Africa sub-region. Well, this is today's big story with me, Prince Minka. Many thanks for staying with us. The chairman of ECOWAS and president of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, spoke about the introduction of a common biometric ID card for the sub-region and how it will enhance free movement of the people and goods. He, however, indicated this can only be achieved if there is peace within the sub-region.
I've indicated on a number of occasions, and indeed it's still my conviction, that central to the realization of our community's dream of full integration is the implementation of the protocols on free movement of persons, goods, and services, rights of residents and establishments, as well as the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. Member states have made significant progress in this area. Indeed, ECOWAS citizens no longer require visas to travel within our sub-region, but more work needs to be done. We are also making some progress on our common plan of a single currency. Over the last days, we have had briefings from the ECOWAS Monetary Task Force on the way forward. We're also making progress on the implementation of the ECOWAS Common External Tariff, which is expected to come into force from 1st January 2015. I wish, therefore, to take this opportunity to urge the ECOWAS Commission and member states to ensure that all ECOWAS citizens, especially importers, are well informed to become strong stakeholders and advocates in the implementation of the Common External Tariff. Without prejudice to this roadmap and the various efforts that are being made, I wish to call on all member states, particularly border officials, to take all the legal and necessary steps to remove all challenges or bottlenecks to trade and commercial activity within our region. The lingering difficulties that many enterprising West African citizens face in doing business across our borders must be addressed. Some of our businessmen and women complain that in addition to paying all the relevant duties and levies, they are still confronted with situations and hindrances that often make it prohibitive for them to do business within our sub-region. Some of these obstacles are the multiplicity of legal and illegal checkpoints and barriers, lengthy inspection time, documentation requirements, plus costly delays, regardless of whether documentation is complete or not. Many business people of West Africa have been frustrated by the request for substantial informal payments at our borders, in addition to the regulatory registration requirements and high cost of transit fees demanded by our member states. The proposal to introduce community citizens' biometric identity cards is welcome. Its biometric features should make it easy to carry out any quick verification or identification of any person, anytime and anywhere in the sub-region.
Well, that's the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. Meanwhile, President of the ECOWAS Commission, Quadri Rodrigo, is calling for an increase in the rate and volume of trade among member states. And this, he noted, would empower efforts to reaching the full inter-regional trade integration in the West Africa sub-region. But how can the scrapping of a residence permit system and the introduction of a biometric ID card system enhance this? Now, shortly we'll be joined on the line by Dr. Yao Gebe. He is with the Legon Center for International Affairs. He's a senior research fellow there. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on today's Big Story, Doc.
I am honored.
Now, talk about the introduction of a biometric ID card system and, of course, enhancing trade within the West Africa sub-region. You think these are major steps to ensuring that this can be done?
Thank you very much. It's very interesting, the decision being taken by the leadership of the ECOWAS in the last one day at the ordinary session of the Economic Community of West African States. I am particularly happy that apparently our political leaders in the sub-region want to intensify and encourage a deeper process of integration in the sub-region. But we also must take cognizance of the fact that we are dealing with a sub-regional institution which was established far back in 1975. And today we are talking about integrating our tariff system, trade, and what have you.
And so your point is it's been long coming?
It has been long coming.
But do you agree that this is a major step to ensuring that this dream, which has been long coming, becomes a reality?
Well, the issue is this. We have a protocol already in place which you actually mentioned, and I think it was also mentioned by the three honorable individuals, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, our own Excellency President John Mahama have talked about it. But the fact is the protocol on the free movement of goods, people, goods and services, it has been there on the drawing board for a very long time. The question is whether it has been implemented. And to what extent can we say that it has been effective? To a very large extent, no. And then suddenly we are scrapping it and going to a biometric permit system. That means that anybody, anywhere, so far as you bear an ECOWAS identity or citizenship, you can go or travel anywhere in the sub-region.
Is that to say that you foresee some major challenges in as much as we would want to introduce this? I mean,
definitely there are major challenges.
What are they?
These are both institutional as well as transactional. Let me talk about the institutional. When you look at the 15 West African countries, we have probably the poorest borders. Poorest in the sense that they are not integrated. They are very poor. And we know the crimes, the level of insecurity in our sub-region. And we are opening the floodgates that anybody, anywhere, anytime can move around our sub-region. I hope that the biometric system can ensure that those who continue to violate our security system, particularly committing crimes and atrocities in the south, they can use it to quickly arrest them, to stop the mayhem that they continue to. You see, we want to pursue trade relations, closer trade relations, promote market integration and what have you. Fine. But how many people, if you look at the population of our sub-region, we're talking about 300 million plus people. But how many segments of this population actually undergo trade? You get the point. So it is a very attractive policy that we want to embark upon.
But how do we start when persons like you would rather want to look at the challenges and the fact that it overrides this bigger ambition that the Economic Community for West African State has? How do we start the process?
Yeah, I would wish that a thorough evaluation is done on the previous system that we had, which is the protocol on the free movement of people, goods, and services. It has been introduced for almost 20 years now. How effective had it been? Did it ensure the very objective that it sought to achieve? If not, what should have been done to make sure that it was, translated into what? A productive system for the sub-region? I don't think this was done. Then suddenly we are scrapping it and going for a biometric system. So what really is the relationship?
Okay, let me just...
I don't know whether that has been done. If it has been done, what is the outcome of that research? So we need to know.
Very well.
This seems to be remain at the level of the political elite, the political leadership of the sub-region. This is good for us. Let's do it. But it is left there. The bureaucrats and the technocrats who are actually in charge of these processes, they rather end up thwarting the efforts of the political leaders because there is no, thorough relationship established when these things are being done.
Okay.
For me, this is my fear.
Let me just have you hold on the line. Let me remind viewers that we're actually having live visuals from the Movenpick Hotel where the 45th session of the ECOWAS Summit is ongoing. And obviously we'll listen in to President John Dramani Mahama. I would want you to stay on the line, Dr. Yagebe. And I also introduce into the discussion Ibrahim Erbad. He's an international relations expert, and we'll hear his thoughts on the issues that we're discussing. Here's President John Mahama.
We have sought common ground and consensus in addressing critical issues and seeking solutions to some of the challenges that confront our sub-region. I wish to thank His Excellency President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita of Mali for the updates he has given us on the situation in northern Mali. The situation is still fragile, and ECOWAS leaders remain committed to and supportive of his government's efforts to keep Mali united, stable, and secure. We support the government's position that the territorial integrity of Mali is non-negotiable. We continue to offer every support and solidarity to President Goodluck Jonathan and his government in their efforts to defeat the terrorist activities of Boko Haram in parts of Nigeria. We have hope that the young schoolgirls abducted by these terrorists will be freed unharmed and returned to their families. Excellencies, a major step was taken at this summit to address in a firm and concrete manner the present danger of the Ebola outbreak in 3 of our member states. A fund to support the affected nations has already received immediate financial pledges and commitments. I wish to applaud the commitments of the leaders to support the West African Health Organization and the affected countries. We have amended some protocols and decisions aimed at promoting the free movement of persons and goods in our sub-region. On the issue of the introduction of ECOWAS biometric identification cards for our citizens, this has been adopted in principle pending a security appraisal by the ministers of security of the member states. Excellencies, we are more than aware that every laudable decision taken here can only bear fruit when we start to take action and implement them. I wish, therefore, to urge all of us to take the necessary steps at the national level for the implementation of these decisions to the benefit of our people. I wish at this juncture to commend His Excellency Kadri Desiree Ouedraogo, President of the ECOWAS Commission, the commissioners and staff of the ECOWAS Commission and ECOWAS institutions, particularly the conference staff, for the impressive reports, memoranda, and related documents made available to us during this summit. We thank you all for the hard work that has gone into organizing this summit and for the hard work that you will continue to do long after this event has closed. To every one of you, I say thank you, merci beaucoup, and muito obrigado. As we bring this summit to a successful conclusion,
and that's President John Dramani Mahama, Chairman of ECOWAS and, of course, President of the Republic of Ghana. Let's continue our discussion in as much as we look at a united Africa and various issues that came up at the ECOWAS summit here. in Accra. Already we've told you that leaders have been advocating for the scrapping of the resident permit system and would want to introduce a system where we would have biometric ID cards to enhance free movement within the West Africa sub-region. A while ago, we were speaking to Dr. Yao Gebe, Senior Research Fellow at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy. Doc, are you still on the line? Well, we don't have Doc, but let me introduce you into the discussion, Ibrahim Erbad. Ibrahim, you've been listening to the president and, of course, some of the issues that came up. Yeah. But let me quickly get your take on the scrapping of the resident permit system. How is it going to work?
Hands down, I think it's not a prudent idea because it will give certain countries within the sub-region an unwanted, competitive advantage. The senior colleague on the phone mentioned that we are talking about a population of a little over 300 million. And mind you, more than half of that is within one jurisdiction, the Nigerian jurisdiction, which has a population of something in the neighborhood of 170 billion. So therefore, if we open our frontiers for people to come in, all because they are ECOWAS citizens, certainly certain people, Ghana has only 25 million people, they can't be on a pedestal, on an equal and competitive pedestal with a country like Nigeria that has the luxury of its numerical strength to pour in more people. So in the long term, it's going to increase the strife on the labor front. Already, Guta is complaining that certain expatriates have taken over the retail business. And when you look at the laws of the Ghana Immigration Service, before you can indulge in any retail business, then you should have a minimum equity investment of $300 US. But you go to Abusoka, they are Nigerians, they go to places like Makola, there are people from Togo and all that. And it is also going to feed into the larger problem of unemployment in various ECOWAS countries. We have countries like Ghana where they are teaming unemployed graduates. They're receiving an association that is ironically called Association for Unemployed Graduates. So I think we are overstepping our boundary. We are too big on ambition, but small on implementation.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Yao Gebe at this particular point. Doc, we're looking at the challenges and all. You've mentioned quite a number of them, but building it up from here, exactly what do we need to do? I mean, we certainly would want to have a situation where there'll be free movement within the West Africa sub-region and also want to deepen intra-trade. So what do we need to do?
It is very interesting when ECOWAS, led by the political elites in the sub-region, want to embark on this rather ambitious project. I always ask myself, what really are the objectives that the ECOWAS since 1975 has embarked upon, and what have they achieved? Primarily in terms of the objectives that they originally set. We talked about the creation of a free trade area, the creation of a tariff union, a customs union, an economic union. Mind you, at the same time, we're talking about a political union. So we are virtually pursuing all the objectives at the same time. And this is impracticable when you look at any regional integration scheme in the world. Look at the most successful one, the European Union. It's one thing after the other. But where we put all the food on the plate, please, this is the kind of results we get. I was earlier on referring to the fact that the protocol on the free movement of people, goods, and services, to this point, we don't know where we have been on that program. Is there any research or evaluation to tell us that this has been the success that we achieved?
And so you're asking that some sort of research be done. But don't you think some sort of research might have been done, hence the proposal that we scrap the resident permit and introduce a biometric ID card system?
You are doing the questioning, but I'm asking also that are the political leaders of our sub-region in the position to tell us where we have reached so far? I'm not sure there is anything of the sort. The issue is this. That relationship, that interaction between our political elites and the technocrats and bureaucrats who normally recommend these policies, there is a gap, a yawning gap. So if I'm asking this question, it's because those of us who actually do the study of political integration or economic integration, we realize that no, often than not, we jump the gun. So issuing biometric, identity or permit to ECOWAS citizens, I just noticed that a colleague of mine is talking about the issue of unemployment, the pressure on the structure of trade relations in the sub-region and all that. This is exactly what will be happening.
Okay, let me bring Ilbard in, Doc. Just hold on for me. I'll shortly bring in Grandfather Ayitomeka. He's also a Pan-Africanist, and he feels that, look, the West African leaders would have to go on with this no matter what. But Doc is asking for some research to be done. Then again, he's saying that, look, in terms of information that we as residents or citizens of ECOWAS, as far as we are concerned, we are limited as far as information is concerned.
Yeah,
so
certainly, I think the disconnect is not only between the political elites and then the technocrats within the sub-region. Most of the time, many of us who are down there are kept in the dark about such deliberations. So not enough information has gone, and not enough awareness has been created about this. And I say we are starting on a wrong premise. It is a wrong footing to compare yourself with, perfect models like the EU, where there is the Eurozone, and therefore there is an unfettered and unbridled access to many countries.
But let's get real.
People.
Are you trying to say that there's nothing ECOWAS can do at this particular point in time to...
Prince, let's set realistic goals and go steadily. Let's achieve them. You see, the ECOWAS...
These are not realistic goals?
They aren't realistic because when you look at the history of ECOWAS, it has been very poor on implementation. The idea of a common currency for the sub-region was conceptualized in the late 90s. It crystallized in the year 2000, and it was supposed to have come into effect in the year 2003. And ever since, we've been shifting the goalposts. So I think even the MGDs, how many of them have we been able to achieve? So let's not try to do things that go beyond our capability as a sub-region. The situation in the EU may be close to impeccable. They are a beacon that we can look up to and then copy. But let's develop as a continent and as a sub-region at our own natural pace. Let's do one thing at a time. Mind you,
but
if you open,
take a long time, don't you think so?
Prince, if you give people the opportunity to travel freely and then settle without any proper documentation, what are you calling upon the country? Certainly there will be an uptake in criminal activities. Already there is the issue of online fraud, and many of these crimes are carried out by certain people from a certain ECOWAS country. So what are even the extradition mechanisms? If people have been given the opportunity to live in a jurisdiction without any permit, if the person commits any major crime or indulges in acts of terrorism, and you know so well that not all the countries within the sub-region are purely democratic. Countries like the Gambia and the Yaya Jammeh do not enjoy the kind of liberties we enjoy here in Ghana. Ghana is a free society with freedom of expression and all that. But in the early 2000s, when some 44 Ghanaians were killed in the Gambia, what was Ghana's response? What was the response of ECOWAS? Therefore, I think there should be enough regional integration. Many of the countries that make up the body of the ECOWAS are Francophone countries. There are only 5 Anglophone countries. There are many Ghanaians that are Anglophone, and they've never had any interaction with Togolese people, largely because they don't speak the language. So most of the trade, the intertrade, the senior colleague on the phone mentioned that we should engender that intertrade integration. Most of the trade is semi-formal and then informal. People who want to go into mechanics that come from the Chamba areas of Togo into this country, herdsmen that are coming from Cote d'Ivoire, some from the Elubo region with rice and all that. So I think the right premise of footing to start with is to engender that, linguistic integration. People are taught French, but how many Ghanaians make time to study the language well? So let's look at these thorny issues of the linguistic disparity between the various regions that make up ECOWAS, and the issue of democratization. It is when we've been able to go past these myriad challenges that we can talk something robust, like giving the people an unfettered access to all the jurisdictions within the region.
Very well, Doc, but these points that everybody is raising, I mean the systematic approach to ensuring regional integration, this is not the first time it's been raised. And so how long are we going to hear this, and how long are we going to see a situation where we would implement them? And how can we take advantage of summits like the one that we had here in Accra to see to it that these things do happen for us?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that the last speaker, said it all. The problem for the ECOWAS has all along been the lack of implementation. because these policy frameworks, the protocols that cover all of them, have been visited over and over again without any practical, input. So if not, we wouldn't be talking today about or criticizing the issue of biometric permits. Fundamentally, I think that we are putting the cart before the horse. This is not the time for it. Just look at the political instability in the sub-region. Look at the insecurity in the sub-region. Look at the Boko Haram issue in Nigeria. So we are saying that, look, so far as you carry a biometric, permit, you can traverse the whole sub-region. You can do anything.